What's up, everybody? It's Roger and James here with the DisKingdom podcast. On this episode, we are going to be talking about Iron Fist. So this one here is a brand new series on Netflix. We're trying to try and keep off spoilers. It's more like a review in progress. I've literally just finished episode 10 before we started recording. James, where are you up to on this one?
Not as far as I would like to be. I'm only about 4 or 5 episodes in, or I think 4 is my next one. Mm-hmm. But I can come here with the perspective of the comic books rather than the show, so that's where I'm contributing.
It's kind of interesting with this one. It's funny. The other day, we were going to go cinema. We were like, did we go see King Kong? And the wife said, well, these are getting some good reviews. And we've sat there, and it's getting closer to time to go. And she goes, I don't know if I can be bothered. I'd rather just sit on the couch. And I went, if we're not going, we're doing an Iron Fist marathon. At which point she just went, yeah, we'll carry on. Now we don't normally binge watch. It took me months to get through the other previous Marvel series, so I actually feel like I'm doing quite well on this one. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm sitting here going, all this talk about it being bad and it not being rubbish, I'm sitting there going, I'm enjoying it. I don't quite. He's got a superpower. He's a bit wimpy. He's a bit entitled. He's very trusting. But it's nowhere near bad. It's like, yeah, okay, it might not be as groundbreaking as Luke Cage or Jessica Jones, but I'm really enjoying it. And I'm just like, it's a bit of an odd one, this one. I think expectations were so high, it was never going to meet it.
I think that this is kind of like the Pixar effect in action, where Marvel has such a reputation. Even Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which I guess most people would consider kind of the low point, still is a good show, especially once you get past the first season. Even their bad movies, or even the lowest performing of the Marvel movies, are very good movies, and they still rack in hundreds of millions of dollars. So when you get a show like Iron Fist, which doesn't live up to the expectations set by the others, you don't go, oh, well, it was still a good show, it just wasn't as good as I wanted it to be. You go, God, this is the worst show of all time. This is terrible. This is and you've seen more of it than I have, but from what I've seen, it's not a terrible show. It's an average show with some cool special effects, decent martial arts fighting, and they kind of screw up the camera work a little bit here and there, but you can see there's good groundwork for martial arts. And, it's an average show.
Yeah.
And I'm perfectly content watching a Netflix average show, but it's nowhere near like, this is the death of superhero shows or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny you brought up Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because I used to watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. week in, week out. It got to season 4. The problem with season 4 here is that it got delayed like a few months for some reason. And I know they brought in the Ghost Rider and stuff, but I know I've got like 4 or 5 episodes backed up, and it just become a little bit like, you briefly mentioned whatever the movie is that week when it comes out. There's the interconnection kind of died off. You don't really know what you're doing with the Inhumans. It's all a bit messy. Iron Fist, I kind of have a feel if it was a few episodes less, but I feel that with all the Netflix, I actually feel they should do a 10 episode series, because I feel all of the previous series have all struggled with the same thing. We have like story, and then we hit like the point where it's like a reset button, and they've got to go and hold for a couple of episodes before they start running up towards the finale. And Iron Fist has that same problem. I think it's a problem with all of them.
Well, Luke Cage was the one that definitely, for me, there was a halfway point, and you're switching from one story to a second story at about episode 7 or 8 when they do some things with the villain, and then suddenly that villain's no longer in the picture, and now the second villain is, and you're just like, well, this is a totally different series than I was watching the first half, because now you've also got the Judas bullet, and you've got Luke Cage has to worry about being shot and stuff like that, and you're like, I would have been fine with you just ending at episode 7, honestly, or doing 1 or 2 more episodes. Yeah. And I'd just be like, this idea that a television series has to be 26 episodes long in America, or a Netflix series has to be 13 episodes long or whatever, really doesn't make sense. And this is one thing I think the you UK-ish people over there have much better, is your television series tend to just be, well, we only need 4 episodes to tell this story, so it's 4 episodes long. Sherlock's only 3 episodes.
We do
Most
have
of your
that, yeah.
television shows are 3 to 6 episodes.
Yeah, I mean, generally the general consensus is normally six episodes. Sometimes they go a bit longer. Sometimes they're two nights. Sometimes they go for 5 nights. They go, it's a lot less. It used to just be 6 episodes. It's a lot less rigid now. Television's definitely changed. I mean, I do feel Netflix made the right decision cutting from 24 to 13. I think that improved the quality. But I can't help but feel like a few episodes less might result in less padding. But I still, again, this is what happened with the DC shows. That 24 episode kind of thing bored me, and I got bored of it. My wife just turned around and was like, I've had enough of this. I don't want to watch it anymore. And once that happened and I had to start, it was like PlayStation or DC, it was like, sorry, there's just not, Legends of Tomorrow never kept me going. I just got bored of it. Supergirl was just like a random face of boss every week. There was no consistency. Arrow, I got bored of, what's her name? Felicity. Like, just kill her already. Just get her out of the way. I'm really not interested. And it was, and even the Flash wasn't able to. He hit this point where in the series where they just sort of stop, pad, reset, boot again. And Iron Fist is obviously 10 episodes in. I mean, obviously I don't know what's happening, what's going on, so it's a bit harder to tell, but it didn't fully feel like it reset the same way. It was still very much, well, actually, no, I'm just trying to think. They've just watched the last episode where it did kind of flip a little bit. So it's definitely, there is that point in it, but it doesn't feel as bad. I can't help, you got Claire Temple running around and she's going, oh, I've already gone for this, why don't you just make some phone calls? You know everybody.
Yeah.
I know we've got the Defenders coming up, and give them credit. It's 5 seasons, then they're doing Defenders. What we were talking about on our Justice League podcast this week was exactly the same thing even Netflix can do it.
Yeah. Let's set up Daredevil and Iron Fist and Luke Cage and Jessica Jones in their own series and then combine them so we don't have to worry about telling the origin story and killing Martha and Thomas Wayne again. Yeah. Crossing our continuity streams here, but whatever. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where Netflix, you would think, would not need to have that, our shows are going to be 13-episode long affairs. I would say let these shows be as long as they... Don't change the budget. No. Give them their budget and say, all right, you tell your story, and they make the story 7 episodes or whatever, and then they can use that budget for even more on those 7 episodes than spreading it out across 13 episodes or whatever they want to do. This idea that there's a certain number of episodes that you're supposed to have in a season just doesn't make sense to me. It hasn't for a long time.
No, I mean, I look at like Iron Fist, and I think the problem is Jessica Jones and Luke Cage was obviously Jessica Jones had the whole thing with Kilgrave where she was a kick-ass woman, she was a strong female. The powers that he had over her were intriguing but uncomfortable. I mean, just looking at David Tennant now, he's like, well, he can be creepy and stuff. And there was a very different kind of story with that. Very, very different. We'd not seen that in his series. Luke Cage was, it was all based in Harlem. It was all based around sort of race and based around, an entirely different kind of feeling. It was, its superpowers rarely came into effect in the early part of the seasons because they were telling a different story, different setting, and it felt very unique. It didn't feel like Ant-Man in the slightest. It felt very, very different. Whereas Iron Fist hasn't got that. There isn't really. It's a little bit lighter. There's nothing groundbreaking there, and I kind of wonder if maybe the critics were we thought Marvel was going highbrow, and now it's gone back to kicking and fighting.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where you set the expectations. Pixar has great movie after great movie after great movie, and then all of a sudden they come out with Cars or whatever, and Cars is an okay movie and not to everyone's cup of tea, and they're just like, worst movie ever. And you're like, no, this movie is still better than 80% of the stuff out there. It's just not up to the standards of what you're used to.
No.
I would still watch Iron Fist, even if it was on basic cable or whatever, and this is still better than most of the stuff that's available on regular television right now. It's just, would I rank it highly in the list of Marvel shows, even including Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. on this? Probably near the bottom of the list. but
Yeah.
I'd still take the bottom of this list over most of the stuff in the other list any day of the week.
Definitely. I mean, I definitely feel like it's good. It's very enjoyable. I'm enjoying it. I can't wait to get to the end of it. I'm hoping that I'll be probably done with it. This is where the only issue with me with this whole binge watching thing. I'm just like, it's nice when everybody's on the same page and everyone can talk about it openly, like the old television of where you knew, oh my god, we've got the second to last season and we know what's going to happen. I mean, obviously the internet's made it harder and stuff, but I just feel like, there's so many TV series out now. I mean, my Skybox is just full of superhero TV shows. Legion, I've kind of slid down for me. All the DC ones, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., they're all backing up on my box because I just haven't got time to watch them all, and the inclination is dying each time. But Iron Fist, I'm 10 episodes in 2 weeks. I wouldn't have done that with any of the other episodes. It tells me that I am putting it higher on enjoyment level than any of them, which to me says quite a bit now.
There's also that whole thing now where, if a series is coming out week to week and you can go, oh, did you see The Flash this week? Oh, no, well, okay, we now know where you are in the scale, and we can be like, all right, well, that's your fault for not having seen The Flash. We're going to talk about The Flash over here. Whereas with Iron Fist or Luke Cage, it's like, well, how far into it? Oh, I'm only 4 episodes in. What? But I finished it. And well,
kind of
good for you.
It's like Zelda now. Even weeks later, no one likes spoiling it. No one likes doing it. It's nice to kind of still get that, but it would be kind of nice maybe if we had like a halfway point. So they did like 7 episodes. Oh, we're going to be back in a month's time with. Because like Luke Cage took me 2-3 months to watch because we literally did 1 or 2 episodes a week. We just couldn't. I couldn't binge watch it. But Iron Fist is the first one of the whole lot that I've actually been able to binge watch because I'm enjoying it and it's lighter. I don't know, maybe that might be why I can binge watch it. But I did 4 episodes back to back the other night. Never done that with any of the other ones. So it does say to me that I am enjoying it. I can't wait to get to the end of this one and get ready for the Defenders. I think that's the thing is, I'm enjoying it, and I think that you can't really go much beyond that.
That's ultimately the most important thing is, did I enjoy it or did I not enjoy it? And I've been enjoying the parts that I've seen, and in fact, assuming work lets me, I'm going to get caught up on it in the very near future, but work has not been very kind to me at the moment. But I have been reading the books. There is a new Iron Fist comic out, which is pretty good. It's very different than the TV show, but it's quite good. And since I am the comics guy on this, I will recommend anyone who is enjoying Iron Fist, go read The Immortal Iron Fist by Matt Fraction and Ed Brubaker. It is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
My introduction to Iron Fist was the figure from Disney Infinity. That literally was like, I bought this figure on day 1 it came out, and I'm like, I have no idea. But it was the same with Luke Cage when he was popping up in the Infinity thing. I was like, it's that kind of thing like reading comic books. It's like, what are you? It's like, well, I did read comic. I was reading comic books and watching the cartoons when I was a kid, but you could not read everything. And these obscure ones were never,
right.
As if you've only had $5, would you read Spider-Man or do you read some hero you've never heard of? You read Spider-Man, and now it's so different with like how everything works.
Right, and I mean, Iron Fist was on the Ultimate Spider-Man television show as one of the secondary characters who teamed up with Spider-Man all the time. But then he fell off in later seasons as they added in the Spider characters rather than Iron Fist and Luke Cage and whatnot. But that was what Disney Infinity was based on, so that's why they had him. And it's just like
Iron Fist. We've got all these Netflix series. Just push them off the side. It just reminds me of when I used to watch Spider-Man as Amazing Friends with Iceman and was it Firestorm?
Firestar.
Yeah,
Firestar.
Yeah. But I think it's pretty good.
It's enjoyable. I mean, and especially if you already have a Netflix subscription, it's not like it costs you more money to go and watch Iron Fist if you like they're saying, all right, on top of your Netflix subscription, you also have to pay $5 for it. Go and watch it, enjoy it. This is why like the Adam Sandler movies do well on Netflix. Like, I would never recommend that somebody go and watch a modern Adam Sandler movie in the theaters at all, period, ever. They are terrible. But if they're included with your Netflix subscription, you might be able to get enough enjoyment out of it to watch a 2-hour movie in the background.
Cobbler was awful, but I did enjoy the one where he was with Russell and they were like pretending to be two dead guys or something like that. That wasn't too
Yeah,
bad.
no, but Netflix is where movies like this can do fine because it's part of your subscription. They're made for your subscription. If you think you might even get a small amount of enjoyment out of it, just go ahead and watch it.
My dad even said to me this morning, because I put him on Netflix a couple of months ago, and he's loving it. And he just turned around this morning, "Oh, I've started watching Iron Fist." I said, "Dad, but you've not done like Daredevil, Jessica Jones, or Luke Cage." "But I don't mind. I'm enjoying it." I'm like, "All right, carry on."
But that is the other thing. You don't need to watch Luke Cage or Jessica Jones or Daredevil to enjoy Iron Fist because other than a couple of characters appearing across the series, like Madam Crane and whatnot, if you've never watched them, you wouldn't even know that those were characters in the other shows at all. Now, I would not necessarily recommend watching Defenders without watching the other ones, but yeah, if you want it, hell, even just start with Daredevil season 2. Don't even bother with season 1. You should because season 1's good, but you could.
Yeah,
you could just jump right into season 2.
The thing is, as well, is and I can't help. I don't know if I would ever go back and watch any of these seasons again. I think that's the one issue. It's a bit like I watched it. It's fine. Leave it alone.
You don't need to watch it again.
No.
I might watch bits and pieces of some of the seasons again. Like some of the fight scenes in Daredevil were really good. Some of the fight scenes in Iron Fist are really good, but I don't feel any need to go back. Of course, you're also not going to end up in that syndrome where you just kind of flip the TV on and, Iron Fist is on because it's never going to be on TV.
I've got to be honest, my mum can't stand Netflix from the point of view she's got so used to being like 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. Netflix throws her off because it's like it's all open and she's just like, well, what do I watch? I said, "Would you fine? Just something." Yeah, but I need to. It's like, well, I need to know what time it's like. It's so different to. She's struggling with my dad. Star Trek. He goes, when I tell him he had 500 episodes of Star Trek on there, he was like, "That's me sorted for 5 years."
Tell her that the episodes start at 3 o'clock in the morning because that's normally when they go live.
Yeah, it's funny. I definitely would recommend checking out Iron Fist. Well, on that, guys, again, thank you very much for watching. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that little bell icon on YouTube as well to keep up with the latest from it. You can also subscribe to the audio versions of these podcasts as well. I'm going to be mixing it up, as I said, in the future with our DisKingdom podcast. The aim is, over the next couple of weeks, we're going to start going pretty much daily, Monday through Friday. I'm going to try to have different guests on, different members of the DisKingdom website. James will be popping on for a few episodes. Also trying to do a little bit of collaboration. So it's going to be something that I'm going to be trying to sort of reboot, refresh, and kind of jump into and doing different stories and stuff. So hope you guys like it. As I said, let me know in the comments below what you guys think of Iron Fist. And James, where can they find you over at?
You can find me at heroiclegacy.com where I talk about comics and stuff. So
cool.
Works out quite well.
On that note, thank you very much for watching, and we shall see you guys soon. Later.